నిరంతర న్యూస్ అప్డేట్స్ కోసం ఛానల్ ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయండి. పక్కనే ఉండే బెల్ సింబల్ ప్రెస్ చేయడం మర్చిపోకండి.
Union Minister for Mines, Rural Development and Panchayat Raj, respected Shri Narendra Singh Tomarji, Mine of Talents and Responsibilities, Minister K.T. Ramarao, Secretary, Union Ministry of Mines, Sri Arun Kumar, distinguished dignitaries on the dais, delegates, gracious ladies and gentlemen. I indeed feel privileged to be part of this gathering this evening. Well, the word mine has a twin connotation. It's always, when it says mine, it means mine. That is, it's ownership. There comes the ownership. The other connotation being a mine of knowledge, mine of information, or a receptacle containing minerals and other things. So in either connotation, you find the power syndrome comes in. If it is mine, if it belongs to me, there is a power. And if it's a whole lot of minerals and ores or knowledge, it's again power. But there again, this power, unless it is used properly, will lead only to disaster and distress. The mines, or when we talk of exploration of minerals, etc., is not an Akshaya Patra. It is not something which is going to remain for eternity. So I think we need to take a lot of care and caution in the exploitation and exploration of mines and minerals that are available in the country. Well, carrying coal to Newcastle is a saying that all of you have heard, that all that I have to say have already been said by the Honorable Union Minister and my friend KTR. But all the same, I think it's necessary to carry coal to Newcastle also by way of reiteration, so that it is clear that every one of us shares the same views. The commonality of views, I think, is today what is necessary. One of the things that I keep hearing whenever I meet people, because I have neither knowledge of mines of my own, nor any sense of my own this thing, so I think I'll only talk to you in terms of what I hear from others. So what I'm talking is nothing to do with my own knowledge or knowledge of mines. One of the things, the concerns that people express is about security of miners. How far are we conscious or really looking after the security of miners and their health condition? I think this is an absolutely mandatory must. It is not that they are just machines. They are human beings. And therefore, I think consideration for their security and well-being should be the top priority of the mining community. The DMF that we have all been talking about is a very useful and excellent project. But then I think there is a need for utilization of the DMF. It is not something to be rolled over for some other purpose. It is something which has to be used for the purpose for which it is intended, and there is a need for transparency and a certain amount of publicity on how exactly has this DMF been utilized. I think the DMF utilization is a very important aspect. This has been brought through an amendment for a particular purpose, and it is intended for improvement of the lives and conditions of those who are going to be affected, nearby neighboring villages which are being affected by this. And the utilization of this should come in the form of an annual report and should be publicized so that people know that DMF has been used for the purpose for which it is intended. The other complaint which normally keeps coming about is in terms of displacement of people. Well, there's a challenge. Here is a challenge between displacement, development, rehabilitation, and environment. How exactly are we going to meet this challenge? These facts, how are you going to reconcile these contradictory factors is going to be the biggest challenge that is being posed to you, ladies and gentlemen. So always, there has to be a development. And if there has to be development, a certain amount of displacement when we talk of exploitation or exploration of mines and minerals is inevitable. But then, how good is our relief and rehabilitation policy? I think there is a need for complete transparency in terms of the relief and rehabilitation policy. I remember in one of the cases when I was in Chhattisgarh, where mines, of course, is a very big way, and somebody had come to me one day and talked in terms of how he's going to going to exploit a very big mine and how he's been given the mine and how he has taken care of the relief and rehabilitation policy. And I said, what exactly is the policy about? When he said, you know, what used to be probably a cost of acre about 500 rupees, I'm giving him 5,000 rupees per acre, sir. I'm giving almost 10 times the cost of the acre. Then I asked him one question. I said, how much are you going to earn out of this mine exploration? It's an astounding figure. I said, you should be ashamed. And what is he going to do? Just keep cutting stones all the time? The job that you're talking of re-employment of some of these people, what sort of employment are you giving them? He's breaking stones. And when I go to the scene, that fellow says, sir, मैं अभी कितने साल तक ये पत्थर तोड़ता रहूँगा? मेरे हाथ दुख रहे हैं अभी, मैं भी उम्र भी बढ़ रही है, बुढ़ा हो रहा हूँ, मैं अब कितने साल तक सिर्फ पत्थर मारते रहूँगा और ये कमाई में रहूँ, मैं जीऊँगा. So I think the relief and rehabilitation policy is something I think we need to really go into it, and it should be publicized, and there should be a transparency in that, and it should be computerized. The relief and rehabilitation measures which are being given must be computerized so that at any point of time anybody can go to a site and say that yes, Pullanna or Ellanna has been paid so much, these are the members of his family, this is what has been given to him. And this is one thing which is really hurting many people, and particularly the tribals. Because what happens is most of your exploration comes probably in the forest areas where tribals have to be sometimes necessarily displaced. It is necessary. I'm not for a minute questioning it. But then the rehabilitation of these people who are being displaced is an absolutely necessary thing, and we need to look into it. The third thing is the ecological disturbances, the flora, the fauna, the habitat. Exactly, we are disturbing all that. How are we going to do in terms of restoration and reclamation activities? It should be made mandatory. I mean, it's not somebody who's it's not something that he's doing to me as a sort of as a daya ke liye nahi kar raha koi mere liye. मेरे लिए नहीं कर रहा कोई, ये आप देश के लिए कर रहे हो, अपनी इंसानियत के लिए कर रहे हो. And you cannot afford to say that I will not do any sort of afforestation or reclamation activities in the place where you have done your mining. And it should be made mandatory. Otherwise, I think that it should be penalized. We should bring about a law saying that anybody who fails to bring about reclamation activities or afforestation in the areas which have been mined will be punishable. I think we have to make it mandatory, because otherwise people just do the mining, they dig huge craters and then off they are. And all that we are left is a whole lot of a huge crater in that place. I think we cannot afford this, because I think vegetation is necessary. Environmental protection is an absolute must, and we cannot afford to go about it. And adherence to rules and regulations. Well, K.T. Ramarao did elaborate the rules and regulations that are in place in terms of area that you can exploit, in terms of areas explored, in terms of quantity that you can explore, in terms of timings when you can undertake the exploration. How far are we in a position to implement these things is a question. We must, any rule that is being made cannot be only on the statute book. It has to be implemented. That is where I think the responsibility of any government comes in. And this, I think, is something which we need to do. Technology. The technology as a major off-spin for all these things is something which can be used very well. The government of Telangana has put in a lot of technological measures in place. I am quite conscious of it. I am quite aware of it. I mean, a lot of transparency has been brought in. But I think main thing, everybody talks in terms of transparency. This is the byword of ultimately when it comes to mining operations, the one thing that is always spoken about is how transparent is your process. We may have all this. So for transparency purposes, I think to the extent possible, like I think in Telangana government has gone, please go public on the web. Let people see it for themselves. You don't have to be explaining to every gathering in every crowd, every meeting saying that this is what I am doing. You can just go to the website and see it all for yourself. I think once we are able to bring in about this transparency and look after the miners and their welfare, their medical, Medicare, etc., I think this is a country which has plenty. Mine is something, the mines and minerals are something which are going to really push this economy forward. I have seen this in Chhattisgarh, where I have been there. I mean, that is one of the major economic pushes, growth factors for Chhattisgarh has been the mines and minerals in Chhattisgarh. And it can provide a lot of wealth to you. But wealth, as I told you, is not health. Health is wealth, but wealth is not health. Please remember that. Please do not, at any cost, neglect the health factor when you're talking of wealth. And it is not just wealth accumulation. As I told you, mines as a twin connotation, it is power, it is plenty. Power and plenty together is a very heady mix. And I think all of us need to be careful about it. If this mix can be mixed in the right proportion, I think it is going to be one of the biggest gainers for this country, for this nation, for humanity, for this population at large. I thank you all for giving me this wonderful opportunity and wish the deliberations all success over the next 2 days. Thank you very much.